Good morning. How you guys doing? DeSci is down yet again today, but today we're going to go through 3 different projects which are launching tokens very soon that I think are worth paying attention to. I'm excited today to talk about all things decentralized science and continue our glorious journey through the cryptoverse. Shout out Ben Cohen. All right, I still only got one monitor, so you got to bear with me a little bit. I got my live chat to the left of me. Good morning, Sawyer. Good morning, MK. Good morning, Matthew. Everything is going splendidly. I'm actually very excited, very happy to be here, breathing again, ready to talk about decentralized science with you guys. So let's jump right into it and kind of go through a couple of the projects right here. I'm not going to go in depth yet. I'm just going to give the intro and then we can chat and talk about the state of the market and whether or not we think it's a good time for these projects to even be toying with the idea of launching coins. Because if you guys remember, the last times that we had successful new altcoin launches have always been when Bitcoin is making those moves to the upside, and we just have not been. Remember the Noble launch, the Axon launch, those are the only 2 coming to the head right now, but those 2 launches did really well because Bitcoin was moving up. Now Bitcoin is consolidating and moving down, dare I say, and all the launches that have come since then have not really done too much. So the first one up is Bio Protocol. You guys are fully aware of this. We've been teasing it and talking about it for the last 8 months or so, and they finally did their first round of raising for the Bio token. They raised $6.22 million. There's going to be 4 rounds. There's going to be 4 rounds to this thing. What's good, Dawn? What's good, Truth? Good morning. My live chat's still not working. I thought I fixed the problem, but apparently not. There's going to be 4 rounds to this thing, and after all 4 rounds is when they're going to make the token transferable. So if you did participate in this and contributed with any of your DAO tokens, you'll see that you can go claim your tokens and you'll get 50% of the claim in the Bio token, which is non-transferable right now. The other 50% of the claim is in VBio, which will slowly convert to Bio over the next 12 months. I believe it's a linear vesting schedule, so that means every hour you get another unlock of those tokens. And then you can come kind of read their white paper if you want to. I'll go through this in a couple minutes, but I just wanted to express to you guys that the token will not be transferable or tradable until they've completed all 4 rounds of their raise. And I'm very curious if on their first raise they did $6.22 million, how much they're going to do in total. Could this end up being a $10 to $20 million raise? I think 10's probably in the bag if only 1/4 of the raise did $6.22 million. Now, the next token, which we'll be launching very soon, what differentiates each round, that's probably some details we can read through on this, because I don't know if they're going to do the same exact style of round, where I'm sure they wrote it all out because they're pretty good with that kind of stuff, but this round that they just did, you could only get into it by sacrificing your DAO tokens, right? Some of the DAOs that they've launched plus Research Hub. And so I don't know if they're going to do that again, but I'm pretty sure this round was just to bolster some liquidity so that they could trade back and forth, right? They're setting up liquidity pools with each of these. So I'm curious if the next one's just going to be Ethereum and stable coins or something like that. But not all the coins are on specifically Ethereum. A lot of them have bridged to Polygon or even Arbitrum. Next one up, WellShare Health. Now I've done an interview with Jock here from WellShare Health. And shout out him. He stopped drinking alcohol a year ago. And these are the 5 things he's learned. That's good. I think they're very intelligent people. They're in Germany, which means they have very strict regulations for the biotech industry. And they're following them pretty closely. So I really do think that WellShare Health is going to do wonders this bull run. I think when they launched their coin, which a lot of you guys probably got into the pre-sale, unfortunately US citizens couldn't get into the pre-sale, so you had to find alternative routes to get in if you wanted to. They're smart. They're cooking along. They're consistently putting in the work. They're focused on diabetes. They're very focused on diabetes research and just creating an ecosystem for diabetics to kind of get together and innovate on some of the technology that exists. I remember him telling me a story about how years ago, the diabetes community had hacked one of the little pumps that they have to like jailbroke it to make it more efficient because the companies just weren't innovating themselves. And so the community came together and jailbroke the device and then spread that around everything. So the diabetes community apparently is already there for decentralized approaches, community approaches to making better technology. You miss giving us a hard time in your lives. Yes, actually, Truth. Yes. Looks like a candidate for hair. Poor Jock. Now, I am going to say I'm envious of his beard. I'm envious of his beard, but he does look like a candidate for hair. Last one up, Poseidon DAO. Poseidon DAO, they're being mentored by Axon DAO. So I think that they're probably going to do pretty well based solely off the function of being mentored by Axon DAO. And I'm trying to work with them, but nothing's in the books yet, so I don't want to like jinx anything. But they're doing personalized medical research and such. Personalized medicine, essentially. I think that they are a good candidate for an explosive pre-sale. Where is their team? I'm trying to look. Whatever. Oh well. Yeah, I think they're good. I think they're competent. Their team is pretty young, which always gets me excited because a lot of what I found in DeSci specifically is that when you have an older set team, they often have had successes in their life or carry a massive ego. But when you end up working with younger people who are just starting their entrepreneurship journey, they're more open to suggestions. They're more open to not thinking they know and believe everything that, like, they're not set in their ways as much. So I'm very bullish on younger teams when it pertains to crypto, because crypto is something that you have to be flexible and adaptive to on the fly. Things change like every single week in crypto. And so if you just believe fundamentally that you know everything and nobody can ever teach you anything, which is unfortunately what is in a lot of the people's minds when it comes to decentralized science, when they are older scientists or older researchers, then it's hard for them to actually have good success. But those are the three that I'm aware of right now. I don't know if you guys have any more or if those are the only three that are on the market. I got a hair on my mic. But now we can go ahead and start talking about the state of the market a little bit more. The jobs report came out today. I did not read the jobs report, and I don't think I'm not seeing many people talk about it, so I don't think it's having that big of an impact on anything in the market. Bitcoin's still just kind of like chilling in the middle of the range, so no clear decisive movement up or down. So I'd wait patiently if you're watching to take any trades to see which direction Bitcoin's going to end up going. I mean, DeSci's already made the direction pretty clear. DeSci is headed continuously down, which just is not what we want to see, but it is what it is. $438 million market cap is crazy. Why do you think DeSci hasn't really caught any takeoff? Because everyone is focused on meme coins right now. Almost all utility coins have been bleeding pretty drastically over the last like 6 months. And decentralized science is, as a whole, is far left on the far right or far left? They're very far out on the risk curve, all of the DeSci projects. And so they're utility coins that people view as super speculative plays. And most people right now are just focused on those quick 1000x meme coin potentials and not paying attention to the pretty quick 1000x DeSci coin potentials. I think they also need a big breakout moment. DeSci as a whole needs something that comes that just shows everyone what's going on behind the scenes, because things are still happening despite nobody paying attention to it. Like VitaDAO has launched 3 biotech companies. That's insane. That's actually nuts. VitaDAO has launched 3 separate biotech companies. ResearchCoin is hitting all-time highs when it comes to the amount of peer-reviewed research papers on their platform. That's amazing. That is amazing. It's continuing to grow, and the adoption curve is exponentially increasing. Like they posted it not that long ago. Let me see if I can find the little Like, things are continuing to happen behind the scenes. It's not even behind the scenes. It's literally not behind the scenes. Just nobody's paying attention. Let me scroll. Right here. Look at that. Look at that. You're joking, right? Total number of completed peer reviews per week on Research Hub all time. It's increasing exponentially. This is a function of users of the platform. Guess what happens when more users come on the platform? They get to transact within Research Coin, RSC. When they have to transact in RSC, they have to buy RSC. When they buy RSC, supply and demand takes over. So as we see more and more peer-reviewed papers going on to Research Hub, the odds of Research Hub's token going up increases. It's not a guarantee, but let's go ahead and look at it for a second. Let me scoot this here, click that there. Go ahead to Dex Screener and type in RSC. And let's just see if it correlates at all. Let's just see for a second, all right? Bear with me. We'll go to the daily. Maybe the weekly will be better for this. I understand, like, this spike came from Brian Armstrong putting Research Coin into his bio, but I'm still curious to see if there's any kind of a correlation between this. Yeah, I feel like when it does start, it's going to rocket and all types will be pouring money into research. Yeah, I mean, that's what happened here. When it finally got a little bit of a wind, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row where Research Coin, 6 weeks in a row, but Research Coin went up 4,000% in a month and a half. When this stuff moves, it moves quick. When it moves quick. Vita down needs some life. Yeah, it does. Okay. So the initial spike was back here for Research Coin. So that was back in November of 2023. And then it had a little sell-off and then another spike. But let's go back to November of 2023 and see if that correlates with the price increasing. What would you know? Look at how interesting that is, guys. That's actually not something I had correlated in the past. So the correlation between the number of completed peer-reviewed research papers on Research Coin, on Research Hub, started to take the initial rocket here, the initial spike up back in November last year, right as the coin started to rally. Then it kind of had a little bit of a fall off, and the second peak was back here in the beginning of January. So if we kind of go and see what was happening back then, it was still on a little bit of a downtrend, so there wasn't much happening. But that initial spike was correlated directly with the amount of papers being published. I thought it was going to be this little spike, but it was not. That came in April. So what was happening in April? April was nothing. But now we're seeing a huge rally. So I'm just saying, the fundamentals of these projects are continuing to increase while the coin price is not doing anything. That sets you up for perfect opportunities if you're paying attention, if you're watching closely. Let's go back to this, see what else is happening. I don't really pay attention to CTI or ETI or Rejuve or Track. I know that the Molecules IP NFT popped off, but I don't remember why. I didn't bother looking into why because there's literally no liquidity for it. I don't know that Dex Screener will have it. I know Dex Tools has it. Let's look at Dex Tools. I wonder what coin it's going to pop up with. Oh, baby. This is the old baby coin, though. That's why it's not worth anything. RIP. The new one's still holding pretty strong last I checked, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Vita Fast. Yeah, the market cap's 2.5 million, the liquidity is 64,000. So I don't really pay much attention to this thing because it's not something you can necessarily trade and have good entries and good exit with. Will a cat make a cameo today? No, unfortunately, truth, the cats will not make cameos. The cats are no longer with me, unfortunately. They didn't die. They just didn't come to Georgia with me. So they are back in Florida still. No cat cameos. There is a cat here. There's 2 cats here, actually. But neither of them will be coming in here. And I have doors, finally, so the doors are closed so that people and creatures cannot come in here. However, recently, I was toying with the idea of getting a Maine Coon cat. These guys are enormous. Look at this. Look at that. How sick would that be? New mascot? New mascot? No, my objective within all of the content creation I'm doing, everything I'm doing right now, I have 2 objectives. Number one objective, launch blocks. Get blocks off the ground, get blocks moving. Blocks is moving, blocks is launched, blocks is having updates, and my job is to coordinate those updates and make sure that everything goes smoothly so it becomes the most used tool in crypto. Number 2 is to breathe some life into DeSci. I have shilled DeSci to quite literally everyone, and only a small subset of people have decided that it's not a good play. Most people I've shilled DeSci to have gone out and bought in some DeSci coins, have gone out and accumulated some of DeSci at these prices. There is a small subset of people who don't think it's a good investment or a good play or a good opportunity, and the only time I've seen that is by people who have not actually looked into what's happening. And I know I rant about that all the time, but at the end of the day, it's the truth. People are like, oh, DeSci is a cool idea, but it's not going to amount to anything for the next decade. And it's like, no, you guys are missing the point here. HairDAO already amounted to stuff. There's already a shampoo line that's created. HairDAO already has done stuff. Genomes DAO already sells genetic testing kits. Genomes DAO is already doing stuff. Data Lake already is one of the largest healthcare data set providers in all of Poland and that area of the world. Like, they're already doing things. Where's Hippocrat? Hippocrat is literally a subset of a company which has a dominant control over the rare disease market and pregnancies, I know, weird combination, in all of South Korea, and they're expanding globally at this point, and they're using Hippocrat as a new innovative way to progress forward. Like, these projects are not just laughable little things. Axon DAO is partnered with is in an NVIDIA accelerator program to accelerate getting their AI voice technology out there. So you can literally talk to it and it creates pictures of your voice so that it can be studied more aggressively. And they actually are working with Data Lake right now. I think they just announced that this morning. Yeah. Data Lake, Axon DAO. So these things are moving quickly. There is stuff happening. That's terrifying. Well, yeah, the Maine Coon cats are pretty amazing looking. They're actually small dogs. Like, they're actually enormous. I wanted a Savannah cat, but apparently they're illegal up here in Georgia. Imagine sleeping and that thing does cat things at night and Maine Coon sitting on your head when you're sleeping. Be terrifying, actually. I think they... How much do they weigh? $18 to 22 pounds. So small dog-sized cat running around and having zoomies at night, and you just see it like jumping off your staircase. And that's a lot. Derek, don't you have like 30 sites to mod? I'm a little disappointed that the comments aren't showing up, but that's okay. That's okay. I gotta focus in today and make sure everything is set up. But yes. I actually, anytime I go to my homepage, I run the risk of having things show up that I don't need to be having up. I have a lot of political content lately on my homepage, and the political content is not the political content that can be shown on other social media websites, only ever appearing on X. This is fascinating. Oh, well, I don't like this. This doesn't look that happy. Do you guys think this plays out? Do you see this? So are we in a matrix? 2007, July 17th, 2007, SPX tops, 9.5% correction followed by a full recovery. July 17th, 2024, SPX tops, 8.6% correction, full recovery. September 18th, rate cuts. September 18th, rate cuts. Are we having a market collapse following that? You guys can stop me if we don't want to go through all of these. If you guys don't want to pay attention to the actual like broader markets and broader economy, then you guys can stop me and start asking questions. Otherwise, I'm probably going to go through a little bit of a rabbit hole. Not Rob report. I know that 1 million. Yeah. Fed to revise down by up to 1 million in what the largest downward revision in 15 years. So they've been low-key faking the numbers for the jobs reports lately. So if you didn't know, even with CPI data, they can come out, give us one report on the day of the headline, and then up to a year later, I think, can go back and revise those numbers either up or down, depending on what the real data was after the headline has faded into oblivion and no one's paying attention to it anymore. So right now, they're going back and revising a bunch of the different headline numbers from previous job reports, tracing all the way back into 2023. And what they're finding is that we've actually not had the amount of jobs that they've been expressing to the public for the better part of an entire year. And so that's not obviously a good thing to be seeing, because it just means that the economy's not been as strong as they were like pretending it was. Is this from today? Nope, this is from August 2nd. That's not what it was. What was it that came out today? Was it jobs report? Oh no. That's right. News, Popcat smothers man in sleep. No! Always like hearing broader economy news. All right, let's go. Huh, go figure. I know. It's actually so bad. It's been like blatant manipulation of the data just to trick everyone into having fake confidence. But you can't trick the people who are paying close attention. Anyone who goes out into the grocery store or anyone who knows someone applying for jobs right now knows that no matter what the data is showing you, if you go and do some on the ground, feet on the ground testing of the economy, things are so much worse than they ever expected. I went and got chicken yesterday. It was Publix branded, not organic, regular, boring, hormone injected chicken for $5.29 per pound. That's actually insane. Literally, probably 3 or 4 months ago, you could get it for like $3.50 a pound, which means that we just had a massive run up when it comes to the price of chicken. And I imagine that a lot of it has to do with, I imagine a lot of it has to do with the like outbreaks that they consistently have in these chicken factories of disease that they need to burn the whole factory down, including all 7 million chickens. Yeah, look at May 2024. Farmers must kill 4.2 million chickens after bird flu hits. This happens like every stinking 4 or 5 months. There's some bird flu outbreak on a farm and all of a sudden they have to kill millions of chicken. In July, Colorado poultry farm kills 1.8 million chickens after another bird flu outbreak. Like, is this something that used to happen? I don't think so, because I used to be able to get chicken for like $1.20 a pound. Like $1.50 a pound. And I know that was a while ago and inflation happened and we're never going back, but like this shit's insane. The grocery store, nothing is ever as they're saying it's like 3% inflation, right? 2.9% inflation. You go to the grocery store and I'm like, a year ago, my grocery bill could be $100 for the week. Now I'll be lucky if I can get even just a few meals for $100 a week. It's actually kind of insanity. But regardless of that, Also, the job market, if you go try and apply to jobs, like nobody's actually hiring. They just have a bunch of fake job positions open. The hormones give it that flavor. Yes, they do. Hot take, no DeSci pump till the economy gets better. I'll tell you when I think DeSci is going to pump. I don't think many people are going to like it, but I'll tell you my realistic expectations for when it'll pump. So this will be very interesting to see. So right now, interest rates are 5.25 to 5.5. In 4 weeks and 4 hours on September 18th, we will be having the Fed minutes. We'll be having the meeting that the Federal Reserve does 10 times a year to set interest rates and decide how the economy is doing. Right now, the futures, the market is pricing in between a 0.25% rate cut and a 0.5% rate cut. So there is no expectation that they won't cut rates, which means we can expect, because the Fed always does what the market is expecting them to do. Otherwise, investor confidence goes down the drain and we see market crashes. The confidence is more important than the actual data and the actual things that they do. So in 4 weeks, we can expect a rate cut. That's solidified. That's in the bag. Unless something crazy happens in the next month, that's in the bag. The question is, will it be 0.25 or 0.5? Right now, it's kind of a toss-up. We got 1 out of every 3 people saying it'll be 0.5 and 2 out of every 3 saying it'll be 0.25. Either way, a rate cut's coming, which is exciting and also terrifying at the same time, because what's going to happen when the rate cut happens? 2-10 yield curve. What's going to happen when the rate cut happens, because the rates are decided by the lower end, the shorter duration bonds. That's how the Fed controls the rates, is by manipulating the price of those bonds. What's going to happen when they cut rates is that they're going to send the value of the bond up through the roof. When they send the value of the bond up through the roof, they're going to end up uninverting the yield curve, which has been inverted since 2022, which is kind of nuts. It's been inverted for 2 years. It almost uninverted back here. Did it uninvert? No. Almost uninverted back here a month ago. But when they cut rates, they'll uninvert the yield curve. And when they uninvert the yield curve, within the next 6 months, we have historically always had market crashes. I think one time in modern history it hasn't happened like that. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. My buddy's been trying to get a job after getting laid off by Pfizer. Not even callbacks. I know. It's terrible. It's actually so bad. LOL, like the Bank of Japan. The Bank of Japan shit was nonsense. That was like the degens of TradFi, just arbitraging between different exchanges. And then but the exchanges are the government, and they're arbitraging bonds and just currencies. But it's literally no different than someone in crypto it's actually the same stinking thing, but someone in crypto going to one exchange, getting a token and lending it out on like Aave at a higher yield than they could borrow the token at. And it's like the same Ponzi, just more regulated, yet still with the similar odds of collapse. You saw how quickly shit collapsed when they changed it up a little bit. Same stuff happens in crypto. People think crypto is super speculative. Humans are no different. Like, everyone is still just as speculative regardless of the market. It's just like one is backed by the government and the other's not. But if the government fails, good luck. What was I going to say next? I had something else I was going to say next. Yeah, I don't know. I always... DeSci. When was DeSci going to move? What is a good coin that embodies the overall DeSci market cap? Is it possible for me to make an index on TradingView of all the DeSci projects? Or am I going to have to go like this? I don't even think I can view the market cap. No. What's a good one? Is Research Coin? Would you guys say that Research Coin is an embodiment of decentralized science? Like the chart. I'm talking the chart. Do you guys think Research Coin is a good... Is it really that new? Yeah, I guess it's that new. That's crazy. I guess they probably just don't have enough data, right? Probably just not enough data. Okay, let's look at the data that they do have to see how it correlates to the rest of the market. So, yeah, because that initial spike didn't happen until November 2023. Like the initial spike for Research Coin happened in November. Try this, Pat. You didn't send anything, Derek. That's okay though, because we're still going to continue forward with this. So I'm just trying to correlate and see how DeSci moves compared to Bitcoin, but I could probably use the entire crypto market. Regardless, we're going to check to see how DeSci moves. Let's finish this drawing though, because I want to see. Where's the search bar? Okay. So on this, they got all the way back to December 2023. So you come to December 2023. And what there was a little bit of a spike up to, or back till early December. So we're going to draw it and go like this. And then a spike up to like here back in December. And then it kind of came down. Where was this one? Bear with me. Okay. And then it died. Okay, that's what it looks like. You've had a very crazy year, Patrick. It's been actually nuts. I'll send you in Discord. All right, bet. Bet. Is it pertaining to this? I have had a very crazy year, actually, and you guys know a good chunk of it, but you guys do not know the entire craziness of the year. But that's okay. All right, right like this. So this has been Research Coin compared to Bitcoin. Now, we saw the initial pump with Bitcoin, and then after Bitcoin started to top out over here on December 5th, after we saw Bitcoin top out is when we saw Research Coin spike up like crazy. It started moving before it topped out, but if you see spike and nothing really happened, followed by some consolidation upwards, and then Research Coin started moving. We saw another spike up on Bitcoin, and Research Coin moved with it. Bitcoin consolidated for a while and it kind of looked like it was going to die. And then Bitcoin started moving upwards again. And when Bitcoin started clearly showing signs that it was moving upwards is when Research Coin started spiking again. And then we consolidated and it kind of, Research Coin initially peaked right here around the same time that Bitcoin started consolidating. And Research Coin did not continue to have another move until after Bitcoin made its move. So Bitcoin rallied all the way up and then consolidated for a little bit. And then Research Coin had that next rally upwards. So I firmly believe that all of DeSci is going to follow somewhat of a similar trend where it doesn't really have that crazy leg up or that crazy movement until Bitcoin has its movement and then consolidates. Does that make sense? Something like this. Like I want to see Bitcoin do something like this. Oh, that's not what I wanted to see. I want to see Bitcoin do something like this where it comes up, breaks structure, breaks formation, consolidates on top, and then starts having its next little rally upwards. Once it has that next little rally upwards, I think is when we'll see like DeSci start to move out again, start to break out. totally makes sense. I hope that I can put things here. Oh, make your own index. This is cool. I will do this. Free until you're ready. I'll do this later, but this is a good idea. Until blocks is better. Hopefully that makes sense, you guys. My little rant there. I hope. No more cat coffee though. That's exciting. I just saw my crazy hair in the little corner box of my phone because I still don't have a second monitor, so I'm still just working on this thing with my phone as the chat. But this is kind of all I got. What do you guys want to check anything out? Any new projects, any concerns, any questions you guys have? I am all yours for the next 22 minutes. This is mostly all I had planned for this. Of course, Wolf is down again today, 18%. So it had a nice little scoop. It was like 80% or something crazy. Yep, 80% followed by like a 60% decrease. So that's super exciting. Love to see that for anyone who's holding Wolf. I will say something interesting, actually. Let's go to Aaron. Aaron's about to cross 7,000 followers. Hell yeah. Somebody go follow him so we can see the cross to 7,000. But Aaron, who is huge into the ICP ecosystem, he's part of the reason why I'm bullish on ICP, and he's advising Alpaca and advising MCS. But Alpaca is making some crazy moves, and there have been some actually insane developments that have happened in the ICP ecosystem. Okay. What is he doing? There have actually been some crazy development that's happened in the ICP ecosystem recently that's kind of getting me excited very excited for these plays that are in ICP, because a lot of them that we've been paying attention to and we've bought into, like Alpaca, like MCS, like Damnic, like a lot. There's a couple more, but I'm not going to name the names yet. They're still worth under $1 million. And I think once we see what's about to be coming out from Aaron and the companies that he's advising for and working with, once that starts coming out, I think it opens the floodgates for ICP and the altcoins built on top of ICP. Because right now, if you've tried to use DeFi, it just doesn't really work. But Definity came out with liquid staking for people who have their neurons, who have staked their ICP, which gains access to the $1 billion that's locked up in ICP's ecosystem, as well as better DEXs, better UX for people who are in ICP. Because any of you guys who have tried to make a trade on ICP's ecosystem, like, if it fails, you have to go retrieve the funds. Imagine you're trying to get into a pump.fun shitter before it goes to the moon, and your transaction fails and you have to go spend 10 minutes retrieving the funds. That makes trading on ICP like virtually obsolete. And I think that it's gonna change pretty damn soon. We should take bets on as to when Patrick gets a second monitor. I will get a second monitor when one of you guys send it to me. No, I'm gonna get 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna be in a little trading desk terminal. What is your macro econ prediction for the rest of the year? It's difficult. It's very difficult because I remain hyper bullish almost all the time. But I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to cut rates. obviously in September. I think that initially we'll get a little bit of a spike upwards where things make all-time highs. I don't know how high that spike upwards is going to go. I'm hoping Bitcoin can push into the 90,000s, but I wouldn't be surprised if we like barely touched 80,000. But I'm hoping we can come somewhere like Bitcoin goes up about 50% from here. That would be really phenomenal for price action, everything, once we cut rates. However, I think come the November election time, so that has to happen between September 18th and the election in November. So we got like almost 2 months for that to happen, which is very possible. Very, very possible. Come the election time, the like 2 or 3 weeks leading up to it, I think we see a pretty large scale pullback that scares the hell out of everyone. You see people saying this was a bull trap, blah, blah, blah. That's going to be some of the rates kicking in, yes, but that's moreover going to be the fear from the election, not knowing who the president's going to be. Then we're going to see Trump win. Once Trump wins, people are going to get very excited for Trump's presidency, and I think we start to see a little bit of a rally until we see some of the banks start to go under, and we see some of the economic turmoil that's going to happen because they wouldn't be cutting rates unless they saw that turmoil coming. So that turmoil is going to start hitting, and we see some God candle to the downside, which liquidates tons of people. I think it's going to be super shitty, but we see some like absolute, no, I don't want that. Get out of here. We see some absolute God candles to the downside. Let me do something like this. Stop. We see Bitcoin rally up like this, which is actually kind of scarily similar to what I'm expecting. Followed by some big ass wick to the downside, which brings us down to these lows again. So imagine Bitcoin going up to 95,000 and then collapsing down to like 50,000. The fear that would ensue would be crazy, but if you zoom out of the chart, it doesn't look like anything at all, actually. It looks just fine. And then they start printing money like madmen, because that's what every president's going to do. No matter who gets in charge, they're just going to print a ton of money. I think Trump will do it quicker than others, because ultimately Trump is very liberal with his monetary policies. He's a conservative, blah, 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 whatever. He's a very liberal conservative. And so he's going to print money like crazy and just get us out of any kind of economic turmoil, because his entire thing is the economy is doing well, but he doesn't actually look at the economy. He's looking at the stock market and the asset markets. And so from that point, I think we'll probably not recover until like mid next year, maybe end of spring next year. I think it's going to take a little bit to recover from that. And then I think we get the rally up to here. $150,000 to $160,000 per Bitcoin. We see something like that. And I'm just going to kind of... There you go. That's what I think we look like. How's that? I think the economy looks terrible. We see some bad crash. I think they print money to get us out of it as quick as possible, and then just push the can down the road. Then I think what happens is, after that, like in 2026, to spark off the bear market, I think we see the real devastation that comes from all of the banks collapsing and everything, and the real devastation that's going to come from a pretty bad recession that's been brewing since 2001. 2008 was not really as bad as it should have been, and I think that we'll see the forces of it in 2026, 2027. This guy. Man, can ICP compete with the activity levels of Sol? No, and it doesn't have to for us to win huge. Yeah. C90 FTW, you hit the head of the nail on the spot. Orange man, blue man, purple woman, doesn't matter. They all print money. It's the same story. Doesn't matter ultimately, okay? Ultimately, it doesn't matter who wins the election. They're both two wings of the same bird. I know that they'll be a little bit different, but the two wings of anything are a little bit different. Ultimately, it's the same thing that they're going to do, the same story. Like, they're not going to do anything. They're going to make slight changes that frustrate people, and they're just going to continue to divide us and make everyone a little bit more frustrated and on edge. And we'll continue to have this political divide until some radical candidate steps up and tries to unite us under one common enemy. One common enemy can be anything that you want it to be. It can be the war on drugs, or it can be a group of people that, like, it doesn't matter. But they'll continue to divide until they can unite under one common enemy, or we have some sort of a civil war. We'll see what ends up happening from that. Maybe that's what causes the next bear market. Not any economic collapse, but rather a civil collapse. That would be terrifying, actually. I almost said funny, but that would be very terrifying. We'll see. Recessions have made me good money. Hell yeah, truth. I mean, it's if you can take your empathy away from what's going on during a recession, it's one of the best things that you could possibly see if you're positioned appropriately for it. So in this next rally, I'll be taking profits in this because I don't know that this is all going to play out appropriately. I don't know that this is what's going to happen. I think this is what will happen, but I don't know. So in this rally, I'll be taking some profits and putting money into my pocket so I have runway. As Bitcoin approaches 100K, because it's very possible that we never actually hit it this cycle, that is something that could be on the table. I think we'll crush through it, but it is possible. So as we see this, I'll be taking some profits off the table. And then we see that little pullback. Maybe I deploy, maybe I don't. All I know is I'm going to have cash ready, because if we do go into a major recession after rate cuts and after the yield curve uninverts and after the job reports come out and get revised down and after unemployment starts ticking up like crazy, if we do go into a pretty bad recession, I need to have cash ready for it. You need to have cash ready for it, because you never know what's going to happen. And during recessions is the opportunity to buy assets, phenomenal assets, at disgustingly discounted rates that you never expected to see them at. Like if you went during the Bitcoin crash during 2020, I believe it went even lower than this, but I could be mistaken. If you had funds ready to go, right? You had this rally, you took some profits and you just waited, and then you saw the crash and you had funds ready to deploy here. What you saw was this insane bull run. And that's in something like Bitcoin. You go through anything. If you had funds ready to deploy into the housing market at the time, you would have seen a crazy rally as well. If you had funds to deploy into anything at that time, you had crazy returns. So you need to have some money on the sidelines. I'm comfortable being fully invested right now because I don't think the bull run's over. But this next rally, I'll be taking some profits along the way, and I don't know that I'll be deploying them back into the market. I took my AXGT profits and I'm mostly out of the market. Damn. Yeah. I mean, take those profits. I don't know that it makes sense to be fully out of the market, but bought my first house in 08. I mean, not the worst time to have purchased it. I know it's not the best time, but the worst time would have been like 06, 07, when everything was going nuts. 08, I think the crash had already started, hadn't it? It didn't bottom until 12, but you tell me. Was it a bad time or a good time? Bring back the satanic panic dive. No, don't do that. I won't get liquidated because I'm not on margin, but I will be eating literally cardboard. While I agree, I have much more to lose now than 2008. While it worked in my favor back then, I was negative net worth just getting out of school, so I could risk the biscuit. Facts. Gotta go. Have a good day, y'all. Thank you for being here, Matthew. Appreciate it. If you've been enjoying this live stream, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, although I'm certain all of you guys have already subscribed. Not all of you did like, though. There are 5 of you who haven't liked it. Come on. Come on. No, I'm just playing. Not really, though. Please like it. Please. Please. Yeah. The story never changes, though. The story never changes. It cycles. Everything in the entire history, literally everything in our universe runs in cycles. Everything. From the day, the sun going over our heads on the day, to the seasons throughout the year, to like people's moods, through literally the economy, everything runs in cycles and it's never going to change. So if you can learn those cycles and understand the signs of those cycles, then you can do better. And basically, it's time for a recession. It's time for a Bitcoin crash. It's time for a little reset on the global scale. And that stuff takes a long time. It's been time for a little bit, but that stuff takes a very long time. And so while I don't think it's going to happen immediately, I think we still probably have a year, maybe 2 years before it actually plays out like that. It is time. And so you got to take the time to prep now before it gets too late. Not saying that we can't go to Valhalla before then, but I don't know. This sounds very bearish. I want to make it very clear. I'm not bearish right now. I'm actually incredibly bullish and I'm fully invested in the market. Like I said on a live stream the other day, I think I'm technically more than 100% invested in the market right now. Like I have debt that I could pay off with the money I have in the market, which means I've taken out loans to go into these markets. I haven't gone out and taken out loans to go in the market, but I have loans I could pay off and I'm choosing not to because I want to be in the market. Therefore, I'm technically holding on to those loans to be in the market. So understand that I'm incredibly bullish right now. I just, during this next rally, will be taking money off the table to go pay those loans. And like I know a lot of people think we're headed up to $250,000 per Bitcoin in the same little time scale. Let's go ahead and draw the line here. A lot of people think we'll be up here. In October. I think I gotta draw this a little bit smaller. Like these are smart people, not just like random nonsense people. These are pretty smart people that think that because of the ETFs and everything. Now we are in the Patrick live streams on YouTube daily cycle. Exactly, truth. Patrick has house. Patrick is homeless. Patrick has house. It's all a cycle. It's true though. It's true. Patrick has house. Patrick is homeless. You know, I haven't actually been homeless to the point where I've had to sleep on the street, but I have been without solid foundations for a while. But we're back, baby. We are back. I know you're bullish, but your detailed analysis always sounds bearish. Well, yeah. That's kind of intentional, though. I mean, like, I just don't... Okay, we'll end it on this little rant here, on this note, because it blows my mind consistently. I've been investing and, like, addicted to investing since 2018. So it's been about 6, coming in on 7 years here soon, of my, like, addiction to investing. And when I get addicted to things, I get balls deep into it. Like I go nuts. I am so hyper fixated on it. It's like my little autism. I get like, that's all I will think about every single day for the entire time that I'm addicted to that thing. Before this, it was bodybuilding. Before that, it was Minecraft. And it goes on like cycles. It goes on like 10-year cycles of my addiction to these things. And then I conquer it and I move to the next addiction. But the financial markets have been something I've been addicted to for the last 6 or 7 years, and they are extremely easy to predict. The only problem that I've found is that I predict them like 6 months to a year before I think it's real, before it actually ends up playing out. Every single time I end up being like, oh my God, this thing's going to pop off. I buy a bunch of it and it does nothing for a year and then it pops off. Or, oh my God, we're about to have a terrible blah, blah, blah. Like inflation's about to go crazy and then it doesn't go crazy for a year and then it pops off. Like the prediction, it's not hard to predict these things. It's hard to time them appropriately to make the most amount of money off of it. I'm often way too early to things. And so I'm telling you and I'm predicting that we're going to have a pretty bad economic crash. But I think it's due now. I think that everything is pointing to it happening now, which tells me that we probably have 6 months to a year before any of it actually starts to play out. And depending on what they do to postpone it even longer, makes all the world of impact. And so while I do see it happening, and I think anyone who's paying any attention anyone who is paying literally any attention to the financial markets sees it happening as well. It's just a matter of how long is it going to take for us to actually feel those effects. And I think from my experience in the last 6 years, it's gonna take 6 months to a year, longer than I expect. And I expect it to be happening sometime from now till November, which means that we can probably wait until midsummer next year for it to actually have anything. Like Q3, Q4 next year is when we'll probably see any of the effects of what I'm talking about. And that's just the story as old as time when it comes to my involvement in this thing. Like it really, really is. It's crazy. I enjoy it. I love it. It's kind of a blast, to be honest. But either way, there's a bull, to quote Jim Cramer here, there's a bull market somewhere, always. And so our job is just to go find it. Your time is your most valuable asset. Hopefully this was worth investing it into. I have a lot of things to cover today, so I gotta get moving. I'm gonna have a call actually right after this with the bio protocol team. So I'll keep you guys posted. Join the Telegram or the Discord, and I'll see you guys in the next videos.